Hello.
Hello.
Okay, give me a moment, everyone, and I shall invite our second special guest on, who I shall invite in a moment. Sorry
Three
about
people.
the huh?
3 people on one call. Madness.
Yep. Won't be the first time. Probably won't be the last. Because, of course, as I mentioned, we have Rodney from the After Credits Scene YouTube channel hopping on today. Because, of course, Moon Knight has just finished, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness has just come out. So, now, I shall invite him on, and we shall get started.
Prepare for spoilers for anybody who joins in, because it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, for both Doctor Strange and Moon Knight. Yeah. Hey!
How you guys doing?
Hey,
Hiya.
man, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are y'all?
Oh, great.
Is my sound coming through okay?
You
Sounds
are
coming through
crystal
fine.
clear, my friend.
Awesome. Great.
Right, I'll just set the title and episode number. What episode number are we on, by the way?
Give me a sec.
I want to say 45.
Yes, we're on 45.
Haha. I would like to say as well, this is actually part 1 of this weekend's AstoundCast. I'm going to do tomorrow's part 2, as there's a lot of other stuff I want to talk about. But today is solely Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Because, well, whooey!
So, yeah, I purposely, I know it's horrible for your channel, but I purposely did not, in preparation for our phone call, did not watch any of your Moon Knight reviews because
that's fair.
I wanted to get your impression of the whole series and us kind of talk about it together.
You know something? I did the same.
That's fun.
Well, I watched both of yours just so I could make sure that I knew what I was doing.
Oh, damn. Hey, brilliant.
Roxanne's doing her due diligence. That's awesome. Hey, Roxanne, do you have Disney Plus now?
No, but I'm borrowing a friend's currently.
Okay, there we go.
That's something.
I'll probably be paying for like a year subscription because I've got a 15% off thing from for students. So I'm probably going to get myself a year subscription for it.
There Great.
Right. So, shall we start off with Moon Knight?
Yeah, man, go for it. I'm curious what you thought about it.
Okay, as I mentioned in my videos, I'll be honest, I found it a very complex series.
Okay.
There was a lot to it, and there was nothing wrong with that, but I noticed I really had to focus in on these episodes, more so than any of the previous shows, because, of course, you had Mark and Stephen with their DID. You, of course, had the whole Egyptian god aspect to it, which was probably one of my favorite parts of the show. And specifically, one of the gods was my favorite part of the show. Looking at you, Towerette.
Yeah.
Like, she was just so cool. She was so ridiculously cool. But yeah.
No, keep going.
I was just going to say, it's probably my favorite Marvel show to date.
Yep.
Bit of a slow start in the first episode, I'd say. Bit of a slow burn. But after episode 1, coming into episode 2, it was all guns blazing from there on out.
Yep. Yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
I could see. I agree with you. I think it was the best Disney Plus series thus far. I can see how it would be a little bit divisive, divisive in that regard. That because it's an origin story. There's some people that aren't going to connect with it because it's not a character that you've met before and everything is new. And it didn't have any direct connections to the MCU up until then, other than just dropping some names and stuff. I could see how people wouldn't like it in that regard, but
Yeah.
But in comparison, and not that we'll get into Doctor Strange just yet, but in comparison to Doctor Strange was heavily connected to the rest of the MCU, and
yes,
it was telling a new story, but it was so out there that's going to be off-putting for a lot of people too. So I think it towed that line really well. And I wrote down some notes because I was trying to think, how do I explain? Because I haven't done my scorecard video yet on YouTube to kind of explain where this sits, where my episode reviews come in, and how many of my predictions I got right or wrong. So I was trying to think, how do I explain why this series is better? And so if you take all of the series, and I'm gonna leave What If out of this example because those are a lot of standalone stories. So you could talk about those as individual episodes, but I would consider those kind of a playground. You either like it or you don't. You can go to it to get some backstory if you need it. But it's, if you don't know it and you don't see it, it can color what you know already, but it may not inform what you need to know moving forward. So What If aside, WandaVision is how is Disney telling a new story and doing it well. So they told a new story. They took some risks. They did some different stuff. That's the best example of how you tell a new story. I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the best example of how you continue a story. So
absolutely,
they continued a story. They used the world that they were already in. They brought in some characters you'd seen before. They continued that story very, very well. Regardless of what you think about the other ones, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the best example of how you continue a story. WandaVision is the best way of how you tell a new story because it had some twists and some turns and it had some mystery to it. I think Hawkeye is the best example of how you introduce new characters. So I think Kate Bishop was awesome. I think Echo was fantastic. Bringing Kingpin into that, bringing Yelena into that. That was the best way to introduce new characters. They did a great job of that. And I think Loki is the best example of how you do all three of those things. So up until Moon Knight, I thought Loki was the best series thus far. The only reason I put Moon Knight ahead of it is because Moon Knight was more consistent episode to episode, week to week, storyline wise. And as far as world building and moving things forward, I thought Loki did. I thought Moon Knight did a way better job of that. The adding in, you had different locations. You had every episode gave you something. They all built on each other well. It told a unique story. It introduced some new characters. The Egyptian stuff was really well done. The biggest, so you kind of have to look at the cons between Loki and Moon Knight. And the biggest con for me about Loki is that Loki had one episode that did absolutely nothing for me, and it still frustrates me to this day. And it was episode 3. It was it felt pointless. It felt like 45 minutes for me to get 5 minutes that I really needed. And then beyond that, it was unnecessary. Moon Knight never had an episode like that. I agree with you. Episode 1 was slower, but it built this world that Steven lived in so well that when you did see Moon Knight, it was a good cliffhanger, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is so different. And then even the fight scenes and the inner dialogue that you hear between Mark and Steven and Khonshu and stuff, all that stuff was fantastic. They did that so well. I liked the whole series. And then once you got to episode 4, 5, and 6, it was so bonkers, but it was so grounded that when you see giant crocodile fighting
Yeah.
chicken skeleton man, I didn't bat an eye at it. I
No.
wasn't like,
I was like,
this
oh,
is weird.
okay.
It was like, all right, yeah, sure.
Yeah, same.
It was, in that regard, it was really, really awesome. I liked that. And the Easter eggs were smooth as well. There wasn't
Yeah.
It wasn't overkill, but it also wasn't underwhelming in that regard. And there were some that were really straightforward. You didn't have to go digging for, like making all these jumps to figure out. It was really cool.
But they weren't in your face either, were they? They were just brought up and done. Like, of course, some of the Marvel shows like threw Easter eggs into your face, whereas this one just put them in, and much like the Amit Khonshu fight. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep. It was nice. I liked it.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a season 2 or a movie, definitely.
I think they're gonna do a season 2. It'll be interesting to see. I'm curious which episode was, and I'll ask it this way because I make a distinction.
Okay.
What was your favorite episode, and what do you think was the best episode? Because I can understand they might be different.
Okay. For me, favorite
for me.
episode. Yeah, and actually same. For me, episode 6 is my favorite.
Okay.
Because we saw everything come together. It's all been building up to. We see Layla. We see Layla becoming the Scarlet Scarab, which the costume looks amazing.
Oh,
wow,
it was fantastic! That was so good. She stole that episode. I mean, like,
no
totally. Offense to Moon Knight and Mr. Knight and all that, and because Oscar Isaac blew it out of the park, but her character straight up stole that episode. It was so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, but the best episode for me would be episode 5.
Yeah, man.
Like with the whole the whole afterlife in the hospital, the discovering how Stephen came to be.
Yep.
It was it was the best. Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. I had been my early prediction videos. I was off a little bit because I kept saying, hey, we got to get backstory soon. You got to see how he became Moon Knight. You got to see this. You got to see that. And it wasn't until I got to episode 3 or 4, and I was like, no, they're putting this off for a reason. And one of my predictions every week up until episode 5 was pay attention to every little clue because it's gonna matter. And episode 5, they brought it all together really, really well. And gave you all of that. It was a really great way to kind of information dump, but it actually informed the characters and built the world in a way that fit. It wasn't forced on you, even though there was so much to go through.
Yeah.
And it was a very intense episode. That's the only reason that it wasn't my favorite episode, because it's very dramatic. It's very it's very deep, and it's hard to watch at some point, especially with his mother being abusive. That's rough, dude. But my favorite episode was episode 3.
Okay.
Because it was visually stunning. They episode 2 ends up with him in Cairo, and and so Layla catches up to him. He's going around looking for stuff. You get a little bit of a Jake Lockley tease. You get to see Mark in action. Steven gets to come in and actually do something. Oscar Isaac's acting right there was amazing, where he goes from Mark to Steven. And then Khonshu turning back the sky. It was just boom, 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 boom. It started off well. It ended in a good place. And the only reason that it's not better than episode 6, that episode 6 is not higher for me than that, is because right there at the end, at a spot storytelling wise where where the fans or a viewer would want to see the resolution and see how did Moon Knight defeat Arthur Harrow.
Yeah.
You don't get the satisfaction of that because
No.
Mark has a blackout.
Because it's
And
Jake.
So, yeah, in the 3-minute span, you get like 3 blackouts. So you get the fight is about to come to a conclusion, and then boom, blackout, boom, the fight's over. Boom, we've trapped Amit in Arthur Harrow's body. And then another blackout when Khonshu supposedly releases Mark and Steven from his servitude. Right into that strange psychiatric hospital scene, which I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. And then the after credit scene with Jake Lockley. So it was just where you wanted some resolution. It felt like a lot of little vignettes, like a lot of little jump points, which were still good, but it was a little bit disjointed for me to where I couldn't enjoy it like I wanted to.
Fair enough.
But it was still excellent. I mean, like, if I had to rank the episodes, I'd go 5-3, 6.
Okay.
4, 2, 1.
I'd probably say the same. Yeah.
But even then, you know, I'm ranking episodes on a scale between, 8 and 9, with episode 5 being as close as I've seen to getting a perfect episode, probably outside of Loki episode 5, which was just bonkers. It's just bonkers. It was really cool. But I liked the whole series a lot, and I'm excited to see what they do with that character moving forward. I wanted to see more of him, which is why I think they did their job. Like, you want to see more of Moon Knight. So,
absolutely.
Where he's going to pop up and how the rest of the MCU characters interact with him is going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah. But hopping back to the predictions real quick, and I'm sure Roxanne can absolutely tell you this, my predictions were an absolute catastrophe.
This time you were very bad at like predicting. As in, What If you predicted them pretty well because there was like a lot of predictability for that sort of stuff. But with this, because with the topic that it was going over anyway, it was a bit harder to predict. You think that they would put more lore near the beginning and then go into it, but they moved it nearer the end, which is a good way of doing it. But it is a little confusing at times for people who don't get into it as much.
Yeah, like the only predictions I got right were for episode 1 because I had it very bare bones.
Yeah,
like meet Steven. Possibly meet Moon Knight, definitely meet our main villain, all the basic stuff. So episode 1's the only one I got right because it was so simple that I couldn't really screw it up. The rest of the season, however, jeez, it was bad.
Yeah. My episode 2 and 3 predictions were pretty rough. Mainly because I thought that they were going to give you backstory along the way. But so I kept my predictions really, really narrow, but my episode, like the longer I went, obviously as the show narrows down, you can kind of see where they're going, but my episode 5 and 6 predictions, I went, I mean, usually I do about 7 predictions. I went 6 for 7 and 5 for 7 on my last 2 episodes because and the only reason I didn't do better for the finale was I put 3 possible after credit scene options because I figured they could have ended it up any different way. But the one I was most proud of though was after episode 4, when he wakes up in the psychiatric hospital and he runs out of Harrow's office I didn't see, but maybe one. I saw a picture of it on Google, but I didn't see any other videos predicting it. When he runs down the hallway and he turns the hallway, and the hallway is tipped on its side, and the lights are swinging.
Yeah.
You can hear the boat creaking in the background. You can hear like this creaking noise. At the end of episode 4. Oh, you totally can. And I pieced that together with, one, what I had seen in the trailers, and two, the little girl at the beginning that foreshadows, in the museum, the boat and the field of reeds and the whole thing. I was like, oh, he's in the afterlife. He's definitely dead or dying, and he's on a boat. And I even told my wife, I said, at some point in the next episode, he's going to run through a door and find out that he's on the deck of a boat. And sure enough, I mean, he's freaking out, running and stuff. The other thing and I didn't put it in I did put it in my prediction. At the end of episode 4, when they come face to face with Towerette, Mark and Steven both scream, right? That's how they end the episode.
Yes.
Mark, if you go back and watch it, and even at the beginning of episode 5, when Towerette starts talking, Steven's like, oh yeah. At the end of episode 4, Mark screams because he's looking at a giant hippo person, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Steven screams because he knows who she is, and he realizes he's dead.
Yeah.
It's different screams. They scream for different reasons.
Yeah.
Which just speaks to, again, as how amazing Oscar Isaac was in the whole thing. It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. But if you ever want to laugh, just go watch my predictions, because I could not have been further away.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch those.
Yeah.
It took me a while to kind of figure out where they were going, and at least, I thought once they got to Cairo, there's characters in the comic books that I thought, oh, this guy's going to pop up, that guy's going to pop up, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of grateful for at the end of the whole thing. It's like, wow, they didn't blow through all their plot lines in one episode, in one season.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, but it was an amazing show. I just wish I got more predictions right.
Roxanne, did you get to watch it?
Unfortunately, I didn't, but that's mainly because I've been busy with university stuff and whatnot, so I've been focusing more on that. But looking at both of your reviews and such, I got a pretty good gist of what it was going on about and what it's all about. But I do have a question for both of you now. Oh? What would both of you like to see in a season 2 if they happen to release it?
Oh,
yeah.
Rodney, do you want to go first?
Yeah, let's see. A season 2. Yeah, I think it would be interesting. Obviously, just to kind of play off of what we can already assume, I think Khonshu's, he's not a bad guy, but his personality is that he's a god, and he knows it. So his desire to be, he acts, and I say rightfully so, he acts as though he's not equal. He has no desire to be equal with humanity in any regard. So to have to honor agreements with humanity, to have to honor, obviously he did honor his agreement with Mark and Steven. He's never gonna make them become Moon Knight again.
Yeah.
But Mark is the perfect patsy to be Moon Knight, because he has another personality that neither one of them know about. So he honored the agreement, but he honored the agreement, but he didn't honor the agreement. So in that regard, I think we're going to see, we're going to see Khonshu using Jake to accomplish his goals even more. Now, whether that means Jake is the Avatar, or Jake is just there, and Khonshu says, "Hey, go do this," and he does it. I don't know, but I could see. I think it would be cool to see Jake kind of become the villain. You know,
Yeah.
Mark and Steven spent all of this season coming to terms with one another, and to find out that you have a personality that is at odds with you,
Yeah.
would be very interesting, especially because Jake has no problem being brutal, and they both don't want to do that.
No.
And then like that Jake is the more, I could see him being the real villain, and the whole thing being more of an internal struggle, while there's some kind of external battle going on with, you know, like some kind of character that is not actually a villain, but they're battling against anyway. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Not that it would be this character, but like Werewolf by Night. That character, they teased it a whole bunch. That character's not a bad guy, but
he's not good either.
Yeah, so you know, Moon Knight could be fighting Werewolf by Night, but the internal struggle between Mark, Steven, and Jake ends up creating the tension throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different directions they could go. I think another season of it could be full of cameos and be a lot more connected to some really dark aspects of the MCU. That would be fun. But
we have
know.
a voice message.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Oh well. But so yeah, I'll be honest, I agree with that. I think there's going to be a huge freak out between Mark and Steven when they discover Jake. Like, they're going to full on lose it.
Well, and I think there was a realization at the end of the series, at the end of the episode, where they both wake up, and Mark's like, "Steven, are you there?" And he says, "Yeah." And then they jump out of bed, only to find out that they're attached to the bed,
chained again. Yeah.
So that's, if you go back to episode 1, or actually the end of episode 1, going into episode 2, that's Jake that has tied them to the bed.
Yeah.
Because Mark and Steven wouldn't have any reason to do that anymore.
No.
Jake is doing that to make sure that if they move, he knows about it.
Yeah. Also, we just got another quick voice message.
I'm the Batman. I am the Batman.
Well, good job, Bruce. You just revealed your identity.
Oh, gosh.
But also, there is one other thing I want from season 2. Because we saw his castle in the first episode. Castle Von Doom. Like, what? Of all the places for Victor Von Doom to show up, Moon Knight? Really?
That was cool.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they use that location again.
I hope so.
If they use it like that, or if that's what they were teasing or not. That was really cool.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's a bit of a nice segue. Speaking of Victor Von Doom, shall we move on to Doctor Strange?
We got a lot of good reveals in the Doctor Strange.
Oh, yes.
They confirmed the existence of a ton of things.
So much.
So what did you think of it?
Okay. Some parts a little bit scary for my taste. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
Not a jump scare fan, so. But honestly, it was just phenomenal in so many ways.
Just bonkers, man.
Yeah.
even the second time I watched it, like I went on Thursday with my wife, and then I took some students on Saturday. Even the second time, like knowing what's coming did not make it any less
No.
crazy. It was like, wow, this is phenomenal. It's like, this gets weirder. Like it never calms down. It's not like,
No.
okay, now we can kind of get back to reality for a second.
Nope.
It just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up.
Yep. Shall we go a little bit spoilery?
Yeah, go for it.
Because there's too much that I want to talk about.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah. Well, first off, they jumped into the multiverse straight away.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a few scenes in the MCU before that, but nope. Right from the word go, we're literally in the multiverse. Wow.
Yep. It wasn't a slow introduction at all. It was just,
oh no.
Okay, if we're gonna do this,
boom,
let's do it.
Straight in. Yeah. Defender Strange. Wish we saw more of him.
Yeah.
Really, really, really wanted to see more of that guy.
Yeah, it was an interesting iteration of him.
Yeah.
So they kind of gave you they're giving you, I don't know, I kind of looked at it as they were setting expectations early on. Like,
yeah,
they're telling you early on, like, there are a lot of different versions of people, and
they're not all the same.
Everyone's expendable.
Oh yeah,
everyone's expendable.
Yeah, like, and that first battle in New York between Strange, the multiversal creatures, Wong, and America. Oh, so good.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Like chainsawing that bus in half. Yes, that was so cool. Yeah. But honestly, it was an amazing film. Wanda, I felt so sorry for her.
Oh yeah. They did a good job of and because some of the guys I went with had not watched WandaVision. And I was curious as to
Oh no.
No.
Let me get him back.
Oh, come on. I was curious about what he was curious about.
Yeah, so was I. Oh, no.
No.
Oh, we're back.
There?
Yep, you're back.
Hey, sorry. I cut out. I don't know what the deal was. I was curious. I had some friends who hadn't seen WandaVision, and I was curious how they were going to view Wanda, if it was going to be a big jump from the last time you see her in Endgame, to this movie. And actually, it wasn't, like, because at the end of Endgame, she's sad because she's lost a vision, and so when Strange approaches her, when he approaches her in her apple orchard, you know, she makes reference to Westview, and he's like, "Look, I'm not here to talk about that." And when she makes her turn, and you realize that she's bad, you know, you see the dark hold.
Yeah.
They kind of explain it, you know, all in that moment. So you got an explanation.
Yeah.
And so, it was. It actually worked, and even the guys who hadn't seen WandaVision said the same thing you did. They're like, I really felt bad for Wanda. I felt for her, even though she was like crazy evil. Like, the one thing that I loved about this movie is every time there was a battle, every time there was a battle, there were stakes to it. Like, it meant something. Like, people died, people got hurt. There was no
unnecessary battles.
Right. There was no unnecessary battle. It all had a purpose. It wasn't like, you know, you think back to like Avengers when like Thor pops into the world and he takes Loki, and then you know, Captain America and Thor and Iron Man fight. Like, it was cool to see him kind of interact, but
But it didn't need to happen.
That was more fan servicey than anything else.
Yeah.
This was not. It was okay. Yeah, this battle has to take place. This battle has to take place, and her pursuing them through the multiverse, and how creative they were with it. With, okay, well, she doesn't have the Darkhold anymore. How's she going to get there? How's this going to happen? And then bringing in Mount Wundagore, and talking about Chthon, just all those little references were really, really awesome. And so they gave you a ton of, like, when I haven't done my review video yet. I'm going to have to break it up into chapters to talk like non-spoiler, spoiler, those kind of things. But one of the chapters is going to be multiverse rules, because they inferred a bunch of multiversal rules in the movie, in a very general way, without having to like do a ton of exposition, which I thought made the movie even better. You handled all these universes and all these different characters in a way that was very easy for people to follow. Yeah. Because that could have gotten out of hand real fast.
Oh, definitely.
Compare it with something like Loki episode 5, where you had all of these different versions of Loki at the end of time, and that I will say it was confusing. It was kind of supposed to be, and it was but because of where it was set, you were kind of like, okay, well this is just this hodgepodge world, and it doesn't really matter what I see here, so I don't have to think too hard. But you needed to be able to follow this story moving forward. And it, for as bonkers as it was, they did an excellent job of keeping it easy to follow. Yeah,
definitely. Now, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, tell me about those cameos, man. I know you're dying to.
I was going to say, now let's talk about what I thought was the best part of the film. And that would be none other than the Illuminati.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. It was so good.
It was excellent.
I'm going to take this member by member. Because I got some right, I got some wrong. So, but, oh well. Let's do the ones I had right. Of course, we had Black Bolt and, I don't believe I'm saying this, Professor X.
Yeah, dude.
I was so happy. We, of course, also had...
the cartoon music whenever he came out?
I did. I did. Bro. I was so happy because I knew it'd be cartoon universe Professor X, although I'm hoping it's an alternate version. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Considering that the cartoon's coming back next year. Ooh. Anyway, so we had Professor X and we had Black Bolt, once again betrayed by the fantastic Anson Mount.
Oh yeah, I love him. He's such a good actor. I hate that show didn't do as well, but he was good.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds now.
Yeah.
Because he's Captain Pike. Yes! Anyway, I'm majorly digressing here. For the rest of the Illuminati, threw me for a bit of a loop. We of course had Captain Carter.
Yeah.
My God.
She did excellent. And she didn't really have many lines, but she looked the part and did such a good job.
Yeah. We of course had my other correct prediction for the Illuminati, Mr. Fantastic.
Oh yeah. And seeing John Krasinski in that role was beautiful.
Marvel understood the assignment.
Yeah.
They knew what had to be done.
I hope that wasn't just a fan service moment. I hope, and even if it was, I hope Feige goes back to John Krasinski and just shows him the Twitter feed of people going, we want more of this. We want more of this. Like give him confidence of, hey, you can do this and people want you and it's gonna be good. And do whatever it takes because he did, even the little bit of time that you saw him, he didn't even have to open his mouth. when he
No.
popped up, it was like,
Uh,
that's Mr. Fantastic. That's him.
yeah, like without a shadow of a doubt. And if I'm honest, that suit was way too detailed for 5 minutes.
Oh, now that's true.
He's coming
I
back.
loved that suit, and I'd been thinking, like,
So good.
when they do the movie, how are they going to redo the suits? What are they going to look like? How are they going to?
I don't know.
It
I
was
think
great.
that gives us probably a good idea.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And of course, the final couple, well, the final two members of the Illuminati, Captain Marvel, although not the Captain Marvel we know.
Yep, and I thought it was going to be Teyana Parrish. I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau, not Maria.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed to say that it took me watching it the second time to realize that it was Maria,
Yeah.
not Monica from WandaVision.
Yeah.
But it made more sense because then it dawned on me. It was like, oh, all that means is that in their universe, Carol Danvers wasn't the one that flew the experimental ship.
No.
Maria did, and she's the one that wrecked it, and she's the one that got abducted by the Kree. Like, that was what happened. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. You could kind of infer a little bit of backstory from that one.
Yeah.
But here's my question for you: if all of this outside of it being fan service, do you think which of these characters do you think is most likely to pop back up in a future live action?
Oh.
And do you think they'll be played by the same actors?
Right. Okay. I'm seeing two.
Okay.
Of course, we have Mr. Fantastic. I'm sorry, but John Krasinski is playing him in the MCU.
Yeah, I really hope so.
No one can tell me otherwise. And of course, Patrick Stewart's Professor X.
So you think we're gonna see more of Patrick Stewart?
I hope so, although I'm 50-50 on that because he was recently diagnosed with heart disease.
Yeah. See, I think he's too old.
Yeah.
Just from an actor standpoint. I mean, I know. So just from a strictly MCU standpoint, they confirmed they didn't introduce the characters because I'm not going to call it introducing the characters because it was in the multiverse. So
yeah.
Until our Earth 616 characters discover Inhumans, X-Men, and Fantastic Four, it was not an introduction. It was confirmation of their existence, though.
Yeah.
So Marvel confirmed the existence of Inhumans, X-Men, and Fantastic Four somewhere
in one go
in our world. We just haven't seen them yet. So
yeah.
I think. I mean, obviously, character-wise, you're gonna see Mr. Fantastic at some point.
Yeah.
I hope it's John Krasinski, but I could see them recasting it if he was not available. Just using him in a cameo capacity, over and over again. But I hope they do use him because he was really good.
Yeah.
I think we're less likely to see Captain Carter anytime soon. But if we do see Captain Carter, I think Haley Atwell's the only person that can play her. Yeah.
Well, she is rumored to get another episode in What If Season 2.
Yeah. So
which is great.
She was amazing. And I don't think there's anybody else that could play that character, and I think she would want to as well.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see Anson Mount as Black Bolt again.
Yes.
But I am worried that when they introduce the Inhumans in the MCU, that Feige is going to want to get as far away as possible from the ABC version. That he's going to recast him just so people don't start going, well, is it canon? Is that really this? And like,
yeah.
I think he's going to want to avoid that. So
Yeah.
I'm more hesitant about that, but I can't ever really pinpoint it. But I don't think I'm less sure of. I would love to see Patrick Stewart as Professor X because,
But
I watched those movies in college and in high school and stuff. But
yeah,
I think he's getting so old. If you're gonna, add those characters, long term, you got to have somebody younger so they're willing to do that long term.
Such as James McAvoy.
Yeah, I could see him coming back for those.
Yeah. But honestly, the whole Illuminati scene just filled me with so much joy. I couldn't even.
Yeah. So, Roxanne, have you seen Doctor Strange yet?
No, I haven't actually. But the thing is, I don't mind spoilers too much.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I already warned Cameron I don't mind spoilers, so it's fine.
So here's what you need to do, though, Roxanne. You need to find time to. I'm gonna go super nerdy. You need to find time to watch Evil Dead 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Evil Dead. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a rundown here, more than you're gonna want. So, Sam Raimi, when he first got his start, he did the Spider-Man movies back in the day. And he did a great job with them. But Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 were Sam Raimi's first movies. And so he got his start in horror movies, which is why the jump scares and the turning of the camera angles and a lot of the close-up, facial shots and the zooming into the eyeball and the zombies and the spirits and all that kind of stuff. He uses a lot of practical effects, so that's why you get a lot of that stuff. And if you watch Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2, that's where you get that, and where you see a lot of that stuff that pops up in his other movies. But so a little bit of backstory. The reason I say watch Evil Dead 2 is because his first movie was Evil Dead, and he did it with Bruce Campbell, and him and Bruce Campbell are really good friends. Bruce Campbell is the Pizza Papa guy.
Yeah.
And he's also in Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. He has cameos. But so they made Evil Dead for like $50,000. It's like nothing. And it all takes place in a cabin in the woods. And it's all about these couples that go away to this cabin for a weekend. And they find out that, the uncle or the guy who owned the cabin before them was a professor, and he was studying, Sumerian mythology. And he had this thing that was called the Book of the Dead, called the Necronomicon. Anyway, they find it in the basement, and because they're snooping, they're prowling. And one of them, just out of curiosity, like reads from it, unknowingly, the book is real, and it unleashes these demons that start possessing and killing off the people in the cabin one by one. But the movie was so low budget, like when they're running through the house away from these demons, you can see, like, the camera pans up too far. You can see like the top of the set and the building that they're in. When the demon finally manifests and it's floating around the cabin, it accidentally turns around and you can see the zipper on the back of the suit at one point. I mean, it's comically awful. But but somewhere between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, the rights, the company that Sam Raimi worked with bought the rights to the movie. And they bought the rights to and Sam Raimi wanted to do Evil Dead 2, or he wanted to do some kind of reboot, but they wouldn't let him. And so instead of doing Evil, or he wanted to do another version of it, but the studio that owned the rights wouldn't let him do it. And so the new studio, they wouldn't give up the rights to his movie so he could do it. So instead, at another company, he makes Evil Dead 2, and at the end of Evil Dead 1, everybody dies. Like, even the main character, even Bruce Campbell, everybody dies.
Oh, wow.
And so since the company wouldn't let him make a reboot, and they wouldn't let, and that kind of thing, with this other production company, he makes what he calls Evil Dead 2. And Evil Dead 2 is actually just Evil Dead 1, but redone. So the only difference is the beginning and the end, basically, is at the beginning, Bruce Campbell's character wakes up like from the dirt. He comes to, and you basically find out like, oh, he's not actually dead. But everything that happened in the first movie happens all over again. Same location, same way, everything. Except Bruce is there trying to convince him, don't do this. Please stop doing this. And that's where you get the version of the character that cuts his arm off and puts the chainsaw on it and has like the shotgun in one hand and the chainsaw arm in the other. That happens in Evil Dead 2, not in Evil Dead 1. And the end of the movie is different because in an effort to keep the movie going and be able to make the sequel that he wanted to make, Bruce doesn't die, or the character Ash doesn't die, but he reads from the Book of the Dead and he sends the evil through a portal, and he gets sucked through the portal as well, and he ends up crash landing in medieval times. And that's where you get the movie Army of Darkness. And so it's a trilogy, but it's basically 2 movies. They just redid the first one. So it's Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. And Army of Darkness is like totally goofy, like skeletons walking around. It's just bonkers. But Evil Dead 2 is the that's where you get a lot of shots that if you watch that and then you watch Doctor Strange, you'll go, oh, that's totally like he used all those things, the zombies, the hand busting up out of the ground, the zombie, the version comes back to life, like all that kind of stuff. You get all of those crazy scenes, and those movies are just ridiculous, and they just get crazier as they go, but they're funny, and then the Stars channel did a like Ash versus the Evil Dead series. They did like 2 or 3 seasons of it before they canceled it, and that was a lot of fun too. So those things are fun to watch. But if you get a chance to watch Evil Dead 2, either before you see Doctor Strange 2 or after, you'll pick up on a lot of those little horror movie Sam Raimi-isms, because they're all over the place. It's just, like I said, that's a deep dive into cinematography there, but I love those movies. Those are some of my favorite movies because they're horror movies, and I really like horror movies, but they're so stupid, man. They're just so dumb. They're so bad they're good.
I'll definitely give them a look, because a couple of years ago I used to do media studies, and we did actually study like horror cinematography. Yeah. So this will definitely go back to that for me, because I very much enjoyed that too.
You'll love it.
Right, Rodney, I do have a couple of final questions about Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Well, again, it's a bit of a two-parter here. Who was your most tragic death, and who was the most brutal?
Oh, yeah. The most tragic death, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Like,
all the way.
She kills all the rest of them so quickly.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, I guess we're doing this. Okay. That was the most tragic, because like, oh man.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be able to stop it. Like whenever he kind of goes into her mind and they have that little battle, I thought he'd be able to stop her or at least slow her down. And he didn't. And
no.
Yeah, that was rough. That was very tragic. The most brutal, geez, man. I think it's a tie between Captain Carter getting cut in half by the shield.
Yeah.
And Black Bolt blowing his own brains out.
Yeah.
I mean, and only because, and I'd have to give the tie to Black Bolt because you see it.
Yeah.
Like his head caves in.
Unlike Captain Carter, it's not censored. You see it happen.
Yeah. And it happened so quick. You're like, holy crap! That just
Yeah.
I guess we're doing this.
Like at the time, I was eating nachos. They were very nearly uneaten, if you get what I mean. I was like, oh, lovely. Blech.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and that was because you didn't think that those people were gonna die. You thought like,
No.
oh, they're gonna have a really big battle here, but then she just
N-
straight up
she just-
annihilates them.
She just made them all look like clowns.
Yeah,
And I was like, the disrespect.
yeah. It was a really great way to highlight how strong she really was.
Yeah, because those guys, they're no weaklings. Like, Mr. Fantastic, well, he's an absolute powerhouse in his own right. And Wanda just smoked him.
Yeah, but they they just straight up underestimated her too.
Yeah, yeah.
And after the conversation that she has with Strange at Camartage, where she says, "Look, I'm being reasonable here. Like, I can disintegrate you. I can disintegrate you with a flick of my wrist. I don't have to fight you. I can get exactly what I want when I want it. But if you make me, I will go through you." And
yeah.
So she's really just having fun with them.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time she's just defending herself.
Mm.
If you kind of look at it that way, like,
yeah,
they're fighting her, so she fights back. The only difference is I'm fighting to win. So
yeah,
if you come at me, you get what you deserve.
yeah.
So,
but
because she doesn't actually get brutal with Strange.
No. Uh-oh. Oh, we have lost connection again. Oh, no. Oh, there we go.
You got me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Yeah, she doesn't actually get brutal with the people in Camartage until they hit her with that cannon blast.
Yeah.
And once they hit her with that cannon blast, she's like, all right.
Okay, gloves are off.
Yep, and she to get through the shield, she doesn't attack anybody. She tries to get in their mind, and she tells that one guy to run.
Yeah.
She's not intending to kill people until she's forced to.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna. So in that regard, she still has some redeemability, but that leads me to my question for you. And I kind of already know the answer to this too, but is she gone? But more importantly, if she's not, how does she come back?
Okay, my prediction is no.
Okay, yeah, I don't think she's dead.
Nah, she's not gone. How she comes back? Now, that is a phenomenal question. Granted, this will make her return a very long way away.
Yeah.
But
she's got to have another redemptive arc somehow. And
here's where I think it's going to come in. When she has to battle her father, a.k.a. Magneto in X-Men.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because what a lot of people don't realize is that Pietro and Wanda are Magneto's kids.
Yep.
And I think that'll be her ultimate redemption. I mean, hey, she could even join the X-Men.
See, that's I didn't have the thought about making her battling and protecting them from Magneto as a redemptive arc, which is an excellent theory. But I did think that if she pops up again, it's going to be with a connection to the X-Men.
Yeah.
I wondered if when the temple, when she crashes down that temple around her, and we see the burst of chaos magic, I wonder if somehow her magic doesn't like protect her in some kind of cocoon, kind of, and that she gets found by the X-Men, that she gets found in some regard, and that she's kind of losing her mind a little bit, or she doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
And they have to like nurse her back to health. So she kind of gets a fresh start in that regard. And then when she reconnects with the rest of the MCU, the X-Men who have nursed her back to health are able to intervene on her behalf and say, no, she's not a bad guy. She really is good. But I do think her path back in is through the X-Men somehow.
Yeah. I'm thinking that as well, but I think a fight protecting the X-Men from Magneto is definitely going to be mixed in.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It'd be a good way to allow her back in without, especially with people who don't know what she's done.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly say as well, going back to the whole Mr. Fantastic thing, it was confirmed a few months ago that no matter what happens, Fantastic Four will be ending Phase 4 of the MCU.
Uh-huh.
Like, they said, the minute Phase 4 was announced, they said, the end of this phase will be Fantastic Four, no matter what.
Cool.
So, in a couple of years, we could see the Fantastic Four come into the MCU. And I'm not going to lie, I was actually talking to a friend of mine a few days ago. Yeah, I know we're slightly overrunning here, but I'm going to make this one last big point, because this is the one thing I want to really, really talk about. Fantastic Four. I have some casting predictions.
Okay.
John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic. Emily Blunt as Sue Storm.
That would be cool.
I know. Johnny, I've actually said Ross Lynch from Austin and Ally.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and my casting for the Thing is going to have to go to John Cena.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yep.
I wonder, it'd be interesting to see if he would jump over given the success of Peacemaker, but I could see that.
Yeah, but honestly, I would kill to see something like that, because I think John Cena is probably the best person for the role in the MCU.
I think, and it could just be, the way they did. I think they might do the Thing the way they did Cord.
Yeah.
Is that because, they'll have to have an actor that plays him up until if they do an origin story, up until he becomes the Thing.
Yeah.
But I've seen not casting rumors, but I've seen fan casting for Zac Efron as Johnny Storm.
Oh, okay.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah.
But I think any of those would be good. It'd be interesting to see what they do with them. The rest of them, outside of John Krasinski, I'd be comfortable trusting them with just about anybody. But
yeah.
Hey, as we wrap up, I'm curious I want to hear what you thought about the Clea after credits scene.
Which after credits scene?
Charlize Theron, man.
Oh yeah, right. Honestly, I was impressed. I was amazed. Yeah. The third eye threw me for a loop.
Yeah, I was like, I had to get used to the third eye. It wasn't my favorite, but it was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, I was just like, that's not good.
Yeah, I have to do a little bit of dive into the comics on that. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it starts out as something he has to control, and then it ends up being a good thing. But the only thing I didn't like about her was like, her suit it didn't strike me as like, oh, that's cool.
No.
What was more interesting to me outside of it being Charlize Theron, I was like, oh, check that out. Was she opens a portal to the dark dimension.
Yeah. I was like, that's Dormammu.
Yeah, I was like, what the crap? Like, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, I thought, wait, we got rid of him in the last one.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to take up too much more time with that, but yeah, we hadn't talked about that, and I was curious. So
yeah, but what I really found weird, just bringing up one last point, even though there's no time stone, Strange still has the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, he has the thing that encases it. Yeah, but there's some other kind of power in it. I think he just houses extra power.
Yeah, I just found that a bit strange because I thought, wait, but that was gone. That's gone.
Yeah, I think it's just a place now to house, artifact energy of some kind.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know what kind of energy, but like anything that he deems necessary, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, brilliant series in Moon Knight, phenomenal film in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Can't wait for Thor: Love and Thunder. That's going to be incredible.
I really enjoy the fact that I like the fact that Marvel's taking risks. That's been exciting. So moving forward, I'm excited to see where they go with it. I will say this though, the other movies leading up to Endgame were good, but they knew they wanted to tell these stories, but they didn't really know where they were going with it. You know, 10 years out, like they know where they're going with this 10 years out now. So the stories, as bonkers as they are going to be interconnected, and they're all leading towards something now. So it kind of raises the stakes. I'm really excited about it, but I've loved it so far. I'm really just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, me too.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on since I was 6 years old.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm in it for the long haul now. Like there's a retreat going on with all the Marvel writers planning the next literal 10 years.
It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it too.
It's absolutely same. Anyway, shall we wrap this one up?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you all for joining us on this stream. It's been really cool. Probably one of my favorites so far.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I'd love to have you back for
Miss Marvel. After Miss Marvel's over.
Of course, yes. And we could talk about Thor: Love and Thunder then as well.
A little bit, yeah. Because it when's it come out? July?
July, yes, the 1st, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, after Miss Marvel's over, we'll talk about that and Thor. Yeah, because maybe 2 weeks after. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Maybe too.
Brilliant. Right, so that's gonna do it for the stream, guys. As always, if you're here on stereo, don't forget to give me a follow here at Astounding Cameron. Or if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. The sub button will be just below the video title. And if you're heading in the description, my link tree will be in there, so you can check out all of my social medias. Is there anything you guys want to promote?
No, man. I finally went over 100 100 subscriptions and 100 videos. So.
Oh, fantastic!
Congratulations!
You can find me on YouTube at the After Credits Scene. YouTube.com/the After Credits Scene. And I got a couple of videos I got to post this weekend. So lots of content coming out.
Great. So yeah, I will link that in the description of the video as well, so you guys can go and check that out straight away.
Hey, I'll shoot you a link to. Actually, you could go to my channel and get the link too, but. The top video pinned on my channel is a video about the multiverse, and that I put out right after Loki came out. And so far, my explanation of the multiverse has been spot on. So if you need to know some multiverse rules and need an explanation of it that's easy to understand, there's a video for you.
Yeah,
trust me, it helped.
Oh yeah, definitely. Of course, as well, don't forget to check out Roxanne here on stereo and her YouTube channel at Mianette, and of course her website. And that's it for today's stream, I guess.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem at all.
Good to hear from you, Roxanne. We missed you last time.
Yeah.
I missed you too. And I do have a random fact before we go.
Oh?
Okay, so in theme, Thor Ragnarok had a different name in Japan because the term Ragnarok isn't actually commonly known in Japan, so they changed the name there to Mighty Thor Battle Royale.
Oh!
All right.
Wow. Okay. Wow, okay. Right, so that'll do it for this stream, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow with part 2 of this episode of the AstoundCast, covering all the other news from this week. And I'll see you all next weekend with another stream. Goodbye.
Bye.